Hey, what are we waiting for? We've come too far to let this go. Always on the outside looking in. Door is swinging in the wind. It's time to go and march on in. It's time to show them what we're all about. I can feel a change is coming in the air. I can feel a revolution now. I can feel a change is coming in the air. I can feel a revolution now. I am gonna see again, and I am gonna feel again, and we're not gonna take this anymore. We won't take this anymore. The shapes are hiding in the dark. The knives are out, the blades are sharp. It's one long move and all the lights are out. So watch your step and look ahead. Remember what that old man said. Failure is the aftermath of doubt. I can feel a change is coming in the air. I can too far to let this go. Always on the outside looking in. Door is swinging in the wind. It's time to go and march on in. It's time to show them what we're all about. I can feel a change is coming in the air. I can feel a revolution now. I can feel a change is coming in the air. I can feel a revolution now. I am gonna see again, and I am gonna feel again, and we're not gonna take this anymore. We won't take this anymore. Shapes are hiding in the dark. The knives are out, the blades are sharp. It's one wrong move and all the lights are out. So watch your step and look ahead. Remember what that old man said. Failure is the aftermath of doubt. I can feel a change is coming in the air.
Hello. Well, if it works right. If it works right, we're gonna be live here with no music playing, and it looks like we are. Alright. So the first thing that we're wanting to look at is that we are supposed to have something live with President Trump about signing an executive order for the Department of Education. But it's not clear to me where that's supposed to be live. It's not the only thing that's going on today. We also have got an update from the NTSB on the Baltimore Bridge collapse. And it may be potentially worth it for us to watch that and figure out what's going on with that. So that's something to kind of be on the lookout here for. Took me to a screen that I really wasn't expecting to go to, and I wasn't all set up here right the way I want to be. Has to say where after the countdown you automatically move back, but none of this is what I wanted. Okay, there we go. For some reason, though, I can't be live on TikTok right now. TikTok said you either haven't been approved or you've been revoked. I'm like, what? So this starts in 2 minutes. I was under the impression that he would be signing an executive order for the Department of Education today. And it was something that I kind of Understood according to Agenda Free TV. He talked like he expected something, to start here. Let's see what he's saying, if he's actually
So remember,
showing
this
something.
NTSB briefing is some sort of update on that incident where the cargo ship hit the Baltimore Key Bridge and collapsed the bridge. 6 construction workers died. That was a very heavily used bridge. Terrible. That happened a year ago, basically, roughly a year ago. They're going to give some update on this today. So I don't know what they're going to say. And that starts in about a minute or so.
And they're not doing my sound right. Of course they're not. Why would it be? Show Bluetooth devices.
Okay.
What do you know?
Why shipper since NTSB investigation typically last a very long time?
Of course it is.
Augie says, I hope we're close to a final report after
Is
1
my
year.
sound coming through that? No.
That's going to start at any moment now. Anna says, I can't believe that is already a year
Not
ago.
even fucking showing it. Why? I'm fucking connected.
Again, President Trump's event has not started yet. I am looking out for it.
This happens to me every damn time. Every damn time.
Hey, thanks to Lady Hawk, our member. Thank you, Leslie Lady Hawk. I really appreciate you guys all being here. Somebody ordered a shirt. Thanks to whoever ordered an AFTV shirt.
Okay. There we go. Now I'm hearing it through my headset, and I think that prevents you guys from having any kind of echo or anything.
And really, with the Trump event, I mean, technically the start time was 4, but I basically just have to keep looking. It'll just start. So I'll keep my eyes out.
Well, I guess my question is where are you watching it? That's what I don't understand.
Just waiting for this to start.
Order signed live. I'm Googling that.
Chaser says Trump is always late. Yeah, his events start late a lot. I mean, a bunch of Biden events started late too. I don't have a comparison between the two on who starts later, but President Trump's events can start pretty late. I am also checking for some other updates. We didn't even talk about Turkey. There's this whole thing going on in Turkey where the government took into custody the mayor of Istanbul, who was expected to be the main challenger to President Erdogan in the next election, if Erdogan runs. There's protests there now and stuff. So at some point we might stream about that or cover it during another stream. Haven't really gotten to it today. NetBlocks posted that it's been 40 hours since Turkey imposed widespread social media and messaging restrictions. Social media and messaging restrictions. Oh, I have an update for you, guys. Kyle Cheney of Politico reports a federal judge in Maryland has just barred Doge from accessing Social Security, saying the group is on a fishing expedition that jeopardizes people's private data. Again, that is from Kyle Cheney at Politico. He posted the a link to the document.
Okay,
I'll
I'm going to
post the
share
link
this
on my
tab
site.
instead. So this is apparently where we're supposed to be able to watch it. So I guess all we can do is really just kind of wait. It's hard to say how long this is going to take, but I'm gonna look at some things here while we're waiting on this. Okay. Alright, we're gonna switch to something else here.
Race or gender, any of those are handled by the Department of Education, along with special education is a prime area where they support states, and a lot of those critical functions, we are told, will go on in the Department of Education and not be spun off to other departments, which was an earlier idea the administration considered.
Orlando is showing
to point that
a live
again
look.
and to reiterate it over and over
Fox
again.
25 Orlando is showing a live look outside the White House, and there's a whole bunch of people showing
shutter
up.
the Department of Education. That this will be a shrinking of the Department of Education. With that, Yamiche, let me go to you. What would the impact of moving or eliminating so many of these services of the Department of Education?
Well, right now it doesn't seem like the Department of Education is doing us any good. We're behind the rest of the world. So what good have they done? And I'm assuming that something is imminent because they've had this going on here for a little bit. They've had what appears to be people actually showing up at the White House. And that's been going on for a little bit now here. So let's go back to these dimwits.
Be on
What
K
they're
through
saying.
12 education.
Scored enough that the Department of Education is hardly ever in a position where it is telling a school district, here's what you have to teach. And there's a lot of people who are excited about the Department of Education being eliminated who don't understand that is something that the Department of Education does not do. It does not set curriculum. That is local school boards. That is local school leaders. That being said, I've been talking to people outside the Department of Education today, students who have been protesting. They say that this really threatens the future of public education, because even if
they've
the
got
Department
something
of
a lot more
Education is going to
interesting.
continue to do things like enforce civil rights law
What
for
the
special needs
fuck?
students or students with disabilities, if they have half the lawyers to do
What was
that,
that?
there's going to be a backlog that's going to actually mean, in fact, that a lot of students aren't going to get the necessary
I'm trying to
protections
figure out
that
what
they
this. Okay, there's something going on here, but they've got a horrible beeping. Yeesh. Get your sound worked out, dumb butts. God. Sometimes I hate having more than one screen, because my stupid thing can never figure out how the fuck. Okay, there we go. See if they've got this fixed now. I don't got the beeping anymore. But this is gonna be, Trump signing the order. And I guess it's supposed to be streamlining it. I understand that the way I've always understood it, though, is the Department of Education does influence the states. And it's my understanding that they can't deny them money based on what they are not doing. But let me Google something here. What role does the federal Department of Education play? The U.S. Department of Education plays a critical role in federal education policy, administering funding, enforcing civil rights laws, and overseeing programs from pre-K to post-secondary education, while also promoting educational excellence and equal access.
Are you going to use this case to stand? What's that? Are you using this case? No.
Alright, so let me read a little bit more here. This is just a random thing from Google. Establishing policy and administrating funding. The ED sets policy for federal financial aid and education, distributes funds to states, districts, and monitors their use. Okay. So that funding doesn't seem to be having a positive effect on the outcomes of our children. Supporting K-12 education. The ED provides funding to support students with disabilities and those from low-income families through programs like Title I and special education funding. It oversees higher education. The department oversees colleges and universities, ensuring compliance with federal statutes and administers federal student aid and programs like Pell Grants and student loans. I have student loans I have to get paid off. I don't know how all this is going to affect me. It could be problematic. I don't know for me. It could be rough. Conducting research and data collection. The ED collects data on American schools, conducts research, and disseminates information to congregate educators and the public. There are things that, they're going to tell local state departments of education. This is what you're supposed to do. Identify and address the educational issues. The department identifies major issues and problems in education and focuses national attention on them, making recommendations for education reform. Well, apparently they're not doing very good job at making education reform. I mean, they're not accomplishing anything. They may be good for the idea behind, civil rights, I suppose. Advancing literary and other skills. ED supports programs and advanced literary skills, develop effective school library programs, and enhance the ability of schools to identify and meet the needs of gifted and talented students. I don't know. There may be things within that they do well. But it's possible that the children who really need this support are not getting it as well, because it's not a perfect system. So the Department of Education supports national level arts education projects, professional development programs for arts educators, and development of accessible instructional materials. Go to the U.S. Department of Education. Their official website. Let's see what they say that they do here. Education is primarily a state and local responsibility in the United States. So there's already a lot that the states do. The states and communities, as well as public and private organizations of all kinds, that establish schools and colleges, develops curricula, and returns a requirement for enrollment and graduation. The structure of education finance in America reflects the predominantly state and local role. So it's predominant of an estimated $1.15 trillion being spent nationwide on education on all levels for the school year 2012 to 2013. A substantial majority will come from the state, local, and private sources. This is especially true at the elementary and secondary level, where about 90% of the funds will come from non-federal sources. That means the federal contribution to elementary and secondary education is about 8%, which includes funds not only from the Department of Education, but also from other federal agencies, such as the Department of Health and Human Services, Head Start program, and the Department of Agricultural School Lunch program. So, you could still have those, but not have the Department of Education. I'm starting to wonder, why do we have the Department of Education? Why are they so important and so vital? Although ED's share of the education funding in the U.S. is relatively small, ED works hard to get a big bang for its taxpayer-provided bucks by targeting its funds where they can do the most good. Targeting reflects the historical development of the federal role in education as a kind of emergency response system, a means of filling in gaps in state and local support for education when critical national needs arise. So it was originally created in 1867 to collect information on schools and teaching that would help the states establish effective school systems. While the agency name and location within the executive branch has changed over the past 130 years, this early emphasis on getting information on what works in education to teachers and education policymakers continues down to the present day. Their mission. Despite the growth of the federal role in education, the department never strayed far from what would become its official mission: to promote student achievement and preparation for global competitiveness by fostering educational excellence and ensuring equal access. The department carries out its mission in two ways. First, the Secretary of the Department play a leadership role in the ongoing national dialogue over how to improve the results of our education system for all students. Well, you know what? They haven't improved shit. They haven't. Involvement is involved in such activities as raising national community awareness of the educational challenges confronting the nation, disseminating the latest discoveries on what works in teaching, and learning and helping communities work out solutions to difficult educational issues. It's been my understanding that for years, state departments of education at the state level have looked to the federal Department of Education for guidance on things. And trying to keep kind of things equal for the states. And there might be certain things that the Department of Education requires you to do and certain things that they don't necessarily require you to do. But that's kind of been all the way I've always understood it. And I mean, I'm totally open to the possibility that I've got all that wrong. This involves such as how to improve the results of education systems for all students. This involves such activities as raising national and community awareness. Second, the department, I think I read some of that. Second, the department pursues its twin goals of access and excellence through the administration of programs that cover every area of education and range from preschool education through postdoctoral research. For more information on the department's programs, see the President's fiscal year 2025 budget request for education. One final note, while ED's programs and responsibility grow substantially over the years, the department itself has not. In fact, the department has the smallest staff of the 15 cabinet agencies, even though its discretionary budget alone is the third largest. Good lord. And really all they're supposed to do is make recommendations? I don't get it. And then there are certain things that they fund, but it seems like I'm constantly hearing about these programs being underfunded and then complaining that they never have enough funding. And when, like at the local level here in Ohio, if a school tax doesn't get passed, if the school levy doesn't get passed, and certain other levies don't get passed, there's always talk about it being cut. So, I don't know. I feel like they don't do anything. Or they don't really do substantially enough. That it ends up mattering at all. But maybe that's just me. So, the third largest behind only the Department of Defense and the Department of Health and Human Services. In addition, the department provides over $150 billion in new and consolidated loans annually. So, I'm guessing that means that your school... Lord. Grants for birth to grade 12. It's a list of grants. So, under their grants for the Department of Education for birth to grade 12, they have innovation and early learning programs. They have well-rounded education grants, discretionary grants, and support activities to advance literary skills, support arts education, and support gifted and talented students. They also have charter school programs, discretionary grants to support the startup of new charter schools and the replication and expansion of high-quality charter schools. They're going to have you can click here to get a list of grants. School infrastructure programs. Discretionary grants that ensure that school facilities provide safe, healthy, sustainable, and equitable learning environments. Safe and supported schools. Discretionary grants that address the health and well-being of students, school safety, security, and emergency preparedness. They have school and community improvement grants. Discretionary grants designed to deliver technical assistance to improve schools, promote choice, and engage families. So let's click on these. Let's look at the well-rounded education grants. So they have three different things here, three different kinds of grants for arts and education, assistance for arts education development and dissemination, professional development for arts educators. Comprehensive Literacy State Development. That's a grant. Innovative Approach to Literacy. That's a grant. Jacob K. Kravitz Gifted and Talented Students Education Program. Assistance for Arts Education. Promotes arts education for students. Alright, looks like we've got some changes here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
Something's happening.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. And I'd like to start by saying that our country is doing very, very well. Things are, as you can see, doing quite well. Please sit down. Before we begin, I just want to announce that I signed a proclamation a few moments ago honoring the 250th anniversary of Patrick Henry's famous speech to the Second Virginia Convention, in which he declared very well-known, very famous words, "Give me liberty or give me death." Has anyone heard the phrase? I think most of you have. And moments ago, I also signed an executive order to dramatically increase production of critical minerals and rare earths. It's a big thing in this country, and as you know, we're also signing agreements in various locations to unlock rare earths and minerals and lots of other things all over the world, but in particular Ukraine. We're doing very well with regard to Ukraine and Russia, and one of the things we are doing is signing a deal very shortly with respect to rare earths with Ukraine, which they have a tremendous value in rare earth, and we appreciate that. And we spoke yesterday with, as you know, President Putin.
Sorry that I just now saw that, but that is interesting. User has been banned for nobody words. Thank you for commenting.
President Zelensky, and we would love to see that come to an end, and I think we're doing pretty well in that regard, so hopefully we can save thousands of people a week from dying. That's what it's all about. They're dying so unnecessarily, and I believe we'll get it done. We'll see what happens.
All right,
But,
let's
hopefully
go.
we'll
So
get
what
it
does the
done.
second order mean? Let's
Today
go.
we take a very historic action that was 45 years in the making. In a few moments, I will sign an executive order to begin eliminating the Federal Department of Education once and for all. And it sounds strange, doesn't it? Department of Education, we're going to eliminate it, and everybody knows it's right. And the Democrats know it's right, and I hope they're going to be voting for it, because ultimately it may come before them, but everybody knows it's right, and we have to get our children educated. We're not doing well with the world of education in this country, and we haven't for a long time, and we're pleased to be joined today by the woman who I chose because she's an extraordinary person, and hopefully she will be our last Secretary of Education, Linda McMahon. Linda, thank you. Thank you very much. That's another interesting statement. It's an interesting opening, right? But it's true, and people, it's been amazing how popular this has been. I tell people that this is what I'm doing today, and they say, oh, it's about time. Everybody says it. Republicans and Democrats have said it. And they're all saying it. Also with us are
I don't
some
think Democrats
terrific
are saying
people.
that.
Governors Greg Abbott. Greg, thank you very much. Governor Ron DeSantis, thank you very much, Ron. Mike Braun, congratulations on your victory, Mike. That was a big one. Mike DeWine, thank you very much, Mike.
Oh, Mike DeWine, huh?
Jeff Landry, Jeff, thank you very much, Jeff.
DeWine's,
Billy,
DeWine's my dude here in Ohio. That's interesting.
thank you. Governors, all governors. Brad Little. Brad, thank you very much. Where are you, Brad? Hi, Brad. Jim Pylan. Thank you very much, Jim. And Kim Reynolds. These are all people very interested in education. And you can see Dan Patrick over there, my friend Dan Patrick. We're joined also by Representatives Tim Walberg and Virginia Fox, Rick Allen, Michael Ruley, and again, Dan Patrick. Thank you very much, Dan. You've been a great friend of ours. And State Attorneys General Ken Paxton. Ken, I see you there. Andrew Bailey. Andrew, what a job you've done, Andrew. You have some good cases going. You've done a great job. Thank you very much. And co-founder of Moms for Liberty, Tiffany Justice. She's been a hard worker. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Tiffany. When President Carter created the Federal Education Department in 1979, it was opposed by members of his own cabinet as well as the American Federation of Teachers, the New York Times editorial board, and the famed Democrat Senator Daniel Patrick Moynihan. History has proven them right, absolutely right. After 45 years, the United States spends more money on education by far than any other country, and spends likewise by far more money per pupil than any country, and it's not even close, but yet we rank near the bottom of the list in terms of success. It's an amazing stat. Those are two stats you don't want. The most money spent per pupil, and you're at the bottom of the list. And that's where we are, like it or not, and we've been there for a long time. 70% of 8th graders are not proficient in either reading or in math. 70%.
And yet we have
40%
grants
of 4th
available
graders lack even basic reading
to help them
skills.
do
Can't
that.
read.
So
Students in our public elementary and middle schools score worse in reading today
what's
than
the problem
when,
here?
the
if we have grants available to help them, then why aren't they being helped? Why? Something doesn't add up here.
department opened by a lot. In Baltimore, 40% of the high schools have 0 students who can do basic mathematics. Not even the very simplest of mathematics. I said, give me your definition of basic, and they're talking about like adding a few numbers together. Despite these breathtaking failures, the department's discretionary budget has exploded by 600% in a very short period of time, and employs bureaucrats in buildings all over Washington, D.C. And as a former real estate person, I will tell you, I ride through the streets of Washington and it says Department of Education, Department of Education. I said, how do you fill those buildings? It's crazy what's happened over the years. I'm pleased to report that after offering these federal employees 2 generous buyout options, and they were very generous, and they're good people, but they were very generous. My administration has initiated a reduction in force, and we're already cutting numbers that were really surprising to a lot, that we were able to do it so successfully. And we've cut the number of bureaucrats in half. 50% have taken office, which is great. Thank you. Under the action I am taking today, a small handful of Democrats and others that we have employed for a long time, and there are some Republicans, but not too many, I have to be honest with you. But the department's useful functions, and such as, and they're in charge of them. Pell Grants, Title I funding, resources for children with disabilities and special needs will be preserved, fully preserved. They're all going to be so. If you look at the Pell Grants, it's supposed to be a very good program, Title I funding and resource.
So the things that they're worried about, it sounds like those are going to be preserved. So
for children with special disabilities and special needs, they're going to be preserved in full and redistributed to various other agencies and departments that will take very good care of them. And it's very important to Linda, I know, and it's very important to all of us. But beyond these core necessities, my administration will take all lawful steps to shut down the department. We're going to shut it down and shut it down as quickly as possible. It's doing us no good. We want to return our students to the states where just some of the governors here are so happy about this. They want education to come back to them, to come back to the states, and they're going to do a phenomenal job. You know, if you look, Denmark, Norway, Sweden, I have to tell you, I give them a lot of credit. China's top 10, and so we can't now say that bigness is making it impossible to educate, because China is very big. But you have countries that do a very good job in education, and I really believe, like some of the governors here today, from states that run very, very well, including a big state like Texas, but states that run very well are going to have education that will be as good as Norway, Denmark, Sweden, and those top Finland, those top countries that do so well with education. I think they'll do every bit as well. And what do you think about that, Governor? Do you agree? I think so. Ron, do you agree? I think so. Florida? Iowa? That's right. I really believe that. They'll be as good as any of them. And then you'll have some laggards, and we'll work with them. And we can all tell you who the laggards will be right now, probably, but let's not get into that. But we'll work with them, and we're going to make them, they'll do a job. I think they'll do a job, and they'll go to sections of the state. For instance, New York, you'll have a Manhattan, and you'll have a Suffolk County, and you'll have Nassau County, and you'll have Westchester County. You'll do 4 or 5 or 6 of them. You have upstate New York, and those counties, I think, are going to do very well. And I think ultimately Manhattan should do very well. But we'll break it down into sections, and I think it'll be really, really good. And they're going to be probably the tougher one, but I think they have a chance to do really well. But we're going to be returning education very simply back to the states where it belongs, and this is a very popular thing to do, but much more importantly, it's a common sense thing to do, and it's going to work. Absolutely, it's going to work. And I can tell you from dealing with the governors and others in the state, they want it so badly. They want to take their children back and really teach their children.
There's some of them that want it and some that don't.
Probably the cost will be half.
I have a family
the
member.
education will be maybe many times
that I have a feeling
better.
is not going to be happy about this.
We look forward to this. I want to just make one little personal statement. Teachers to me are among the most important people in this country, and we're going to take care of our teachers. And I don't care if they're in the union or not in the union. That doesn't matter. But we're going to take care of our teachers, and I believe the states will take actually better care of them than they are taken care of right now. They'll work all sorts of systems and even merit systems. Those great teachers are going to be maybe a little bit better rewarded, or maybe that's the way it should be, but the states are going to make that decision. But we're going to love and cherish our teachers along with our children, and they're going to work with the parents, and they're going to work with everybody else, and it's going to be an amazing thing to watch. And it's really
according to your own
and
Department of Education website, is all of it's primarily the responsibility of the state anyway. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what to think. I don't know what a lot of these teachers are dealing with. I'm not in the school system. I don't have kids in the school system. But it sounds like there are things that they do that we don't necessarily need a whole department dedicated to it. Education is primarily a state and local responsibility in the United States. It is states and communities as well as public and private organizations of all kinds that establish schools and colleges, develop curricula, and determine requirements for enrollment and graduation. So, I mean, that's from their Department of Education itself.
Linda, you're presiding over something that's so important, and you're going to do a fantastic job, just like you have your whole life. I know your whole life I've been watching you. I've been watching you for a long time. She's had nothing but success. So it's tremendous to have you, and hopefully you won't be there too long, but we're going to find something else for you, Linda, okay? So this will conclude what we are talking about with respect to our most cherished group of people, and that's our children. We want to have our children well educated. We want them to love going to school. We have examples of it. Look at those beautiful, bright-eyed faces. They are so smart. They're so smart. And with that, I'm going to come down and we're going to sign a very important document, and we're going to be on our way. People have wanted to do this for many, many years, for many, many decades. And I don't know, no president ever got around to doing it, but I'm getting around to doing it, so thank you very much.
Here we go.
Document that turned out to be very good for the country, and I said, let's use that same pen. I don't know, is anybody superstitious? Ron, are you superstitious? Let's use that same pen.
Here we go. Let's enlargen this as much as we can. All right. Thank you. The little kids with their own copy and their own little pens. That's funny. He put a flag on his. he's holding it. She's holding it up. She's holding hers up. That's funny. Oh, the other kid is too. Come on, show the cute little kids. Show the cute little kids. Come on. Well, here you go, people. It's all done. That's all there is to it. All there is to it, people. Okay. Let's see if we can get exactly a copy of the EO order and read it. Copy of Trump Education, Department of Education order. Now that there's Trump executive orders. Now that there's like an actual page that you can go to. Despite since in the years, right, it has been 3 trillion with originally nothing to show for it, despite pure pupil spending heavily increased more than 240%. Math and reading scores of 15-year-olds are the lowest levels in decades. So, where exactly is the copy of the EU order itself? Definition. It doesn't look like they have it yet. They just have why he wants to sign it. I want to read a copy of the EU itself. So, how do we find that? That's what I want to know. I want to know how we find that. Okay, well, let's go back to the drawing board on what we're Googling. Because an article is not an EO. It's not the actual order. I don't understand. Maybe this will give us... This page contains documents that have been published in the Federal Register because the White House cannot deliver a document to the office. The Federal Register to author the president's license, there's always a delay of at least 1 day, typically several days. Okay. So it's not going to be there yet. Let's check the executive worker tracker. I don't care about that. Administrative procedure, maybe? Education. I don't get it. I have yet to actually see this order itself. And I cannot find it anywhere. Why? Like, because I can tell you right now that the news is going to be making a whole heck of a big deal out of it. I guess I'm going to have to go. CNN might have a copy of the actual order itself. I don't want to read your fucking opinion about it. I want to read the damn order itself. Oh my god. Why has this not been released? Like, what the fuck? Okay. I didn't think it was gonna be this hard to find the damn thing. But I'm not seeing it anywhere. Has anyone actually read a copy of and have a link to the order signed by Trump for the Department of Education because I can't find it anywhere. I am reading opinions of it. But cannot find the order itself. So fucking annoying. Our children's education will now be half. Don't count on that. Don't count on that, dude. What? I'm trying to find a copy of the order itself. I want to know what the fuck it actually says. What the fuck does it actually say? What the fuck does it actually say? Does anybody know? I supposedly have 9 views right now. Anybody had a fucking idea of what the hell the thing actually says? Because nowhere, absolutely fucking nowhere, has a copy of this damn thing been released. I don't understand. I don't understand. I'm so confused. Nobody appears to have a fucking copy of this thing. So I don't get it. Is he posting a link to it? Yeah. Just X being put out there on the world stage where he doesn't need to be, but okay. So, like, what? Are we not allowed to read this damn thing? I don't understand. I'm gonna go somewhere else asking, has anybody seen a copy of this damn thing? Cause I can't find it. I apparently don't understand where the hell I'm supposed to look. Anyone have a link to the actual order Trump just signed? I can't. I'm asking in a Discord that I'm. I have never been so annoyed with anything in my entire life. Like, come on. Okay. I'll check there for the third time. Okay. I'll check there for the third time. Yep, still not there. Yep, still not there. This is all we have. Someone in Discord is acting like I'm being an idiot for not checking what I've checked it. I've checked it multiple times. Is there? I can't find it. Well, I don't know. I guess it's gonna be a day or two before it's gonna be posted, and we're actually gonna get to read it. Because this is not. This is an article. This is a statement. Okay. Thanks. Have a great day. These people are telling me it's right there. I don't know what they're talking about. If you think it's fucking right there, provide me with the damn link. They're acting like I'm being an idiot. So, I don't get it. I wish somebody would tell me what the hell I'm missing. Because I don't get. Maybe I'm supposed to go to the main page. Moving to student. Let's go to the last page. Maybe that's where you have to go. No. No. I'm making a comment there. They're like, it's right there. So I'm making a comment and I was like, ugh. I should know I'm speaking with people who try to be intentionally retarded, potentially criminals, Discord. And some of his people in there are just downright stupid. Well, I don't know. For right now, guys, we don't get to read it because it's not posted anywhere. You would think if this was such a big deal, he'd be posting that baby on Truth Social right now, and it'd be all out there. Go to CNBC. So the President Donald Trump signed the report on Thursday aimed at dismantling the Department of Education. Only Congress can unilaterally eliminate the Department of Education. But the Trump administration can starve the agency of resources. Here is a press release from the Department of Education. Let's read that. Secretary of State Linda McMahon released the following statement following President Trump's schedule to return education to the states. Today is Trump's executive order is history-making action by President Trump to free future generations of American students and forge opportunities for further success. We send education back to the states where it so rightly belongs. Education is fundamentally a state responsibility. Instead of filtering resources through layers of federal red tape, we will empower states to take charge and advocate for and implement what is best for students, families, and educators of their communities. Excuse me. Closing the department does not mean cutting off funds from those who depend on them. We continue to support K-12 students with special needs, college student borrows, and others who rely on essential programs. We're going to follow the law and eliminate the bureaucracy responsible by working through Congress to ensure a lawful and orderly transition. With these actions, we take a significant step forward to give parents and states control over their children's education. Teachers will be unshackled from burdensome regulations and paperwork, empowering them to get back to teaching basic subjects. Taxpayers will no longer be burdened with tens of billions of dollars of waste on progressive social experiments and obsolete programs. K through 12 and college students will be relieved of the drudgery caused by administrative burdens and positioned to achieve success in a future career they love. That's all we got. That is all we freaking have. And I don't know what to tell you. I'm typing something in the Discord, acting like I'm an idiot for not being able to find it. They even admitted that they have no idea if it's there. Alright, well, we'll look for it later. We had some other things that we wanted to do. So let's talk about briefly here about the JFK files. Oh, there's something by the USA Today. Their social security info was revealed in the JFK files. One plans to sue. In its deal to release unredacted secret documents from the government JFK assassination files, the Trump administration has made public social security number and other sensitive personal information of potentially hundreds of former congressional staffers and other people. At least one of them, USA Today, learned Thursday, plans to take legal action. I intend to sue the National Archives, said Joseph DeGenova, a former top Justice Department official and Trump campaign lawyer. Oh, he's also a Trump campaign lawyer. Yikes. They violated the Privacy Act. Oh no. DeGenova, the U.S. Secretary of Washington, D.C. during the Reagan administration, said the information about him that was made public stemmed from his involvement with the Church Committee in the 1970s, which investigated misdeeds by the CIA and other U.S. intelligence agencies. Under the Privacy Act of 1974, federal agencies are generally prohibited from disclosing records without the written consent of the individual, and especially in cases where it reveals secret and sensitive information. Another former Church Committee staffer, James Johnson, told USA Today his personal information, which includes social security number, was made public in the files released by the National Archives and Records Administration. The archives posted thousands of pages of newly unredacted government files on the assassination of Kennedy on Tuesday evening, a day after President Donald Trump told the media they would be released. It's originally impossible to tell the scope of the breach because the National Archives put them online without any way to search them by keyword. So how did they even know? How did they figure out? How did they even figure it out? But it's virtually impossible to tell the scope of the breach because the National Archives put them online without a way to search them by keyword. Some JFK files, experts and victims of the information released told USA Today. How did they figure it out then? Your administration doxed former public servants who staffed 1977-79 congressional investigation, revealing their numbers. Many are still alive. Completely unnecessary and contributing nothing to the JFK assassination understanding, said Mark Zaid, a national security lawyer who represented current and former spies and other officials in cases against the government. I trust you will provide them free credit monitoring, Zaid said in one of his several posts. They told USA Today that he saw a few names I know, and I informed them of the breach. Disclosures were not limited to staffers on the church committee, but included other congressional investigative bodies that touched on the Kennedy assassination, including the House Intelligence Committee. Hundreds were doxxed, but of that number, I don't know how many are still living. Zayed said in an email. For example, he said former Democratic Texas Rep. Sheila Jackson Lee is on the list, but she obviously passed away. Says that the chief counsel and staff director of the committee was also doxxed, but USA Today is not using his name because he's still alive and was unavailable for comment. Zaid, who has fought for decades for the JFRs to be made public, said many of the thousands of documents have been made public long ago, with everything declassified and redacted except for the personal information. Releasing the information now, he told USA Today, poses significant threats to those whose information is now public, including dates and places of birth, but especially their social security numbers. The purpose of the release was to inform the public about JFK's assassination, not to help permit identity theft of those who actually investigated the events of that day. This decision was completely avoidable and either reflects intention or incompetence. USA Today is reaching out to other people's names and private information were contained in the files for comment. Justice Department National Archives did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Sloppy and unprofessional. In all, the National Archives released more than 60,000 pages related to Kennedy's assassination on November 22nd, 1963. Many, if not all, of those pages have been previous to those, but redactions that have been whittled down by various reviews and public classification over the years, including by the Biden administration. Despite Trump's order, Trump administrative official acknowledged that only a portion of them were posted online on the National Archives website under the headline JFK Assassination Records 2025 document release. More expected to be posted later, officials said. Fears of threats and identity theft. D. Genova, a former Justice Department official, had for years been staunch and very public defender of Trump. As a result, he said the breach might result in physical threats against him and financial theft. He said some threats in the past have been serious enough to require him to report them to the FBI. I can tell you that whatever the review process was, it did not include notifying people who were alive and whose personal identifiable information was included for release, which is a violation of the law. And so the people physically doing the review process at the National Archives and the FBI was sloppy and unprofessional. DeNova was part of the November 2020 legal team tapped by Trump to challenge the results of the 2020 presidential election. Genova was part of the November 2020 legal team tapped by Trump to challenge the results of the 2020 presidential election he lost to Joe Biden. He told USA Today that he doesn't blame Trump for the breach, but even if the president did order the files to be unredacted and released on what seemed to be an impossible timeline, most of the tens of thousands of files were already in the government's possession, but with sensitive information like social security numbers and the names of confidential CIA assets blocked out for security reasons. This is not Trump's fault. This was the fault of the people responsible for reviewing the records, Di Genova said. Your job as a reviewer is to get it right. They got it wrong. All they had to say is, Mr. President, we need more time. There's lots of personal identifiable information in here. And if they just said, what the hell, let's just throw it all out there, then that's another reason they should all be sued. So. So that's interesting. I didn't know about all that. That would suck to have all your information revealed. But I don't know, if you can't search it easily, how did they figure it out? That's what I don't get. How did they know where to look? So let's see what there's new indictment. There's a new indictment. Okay. I guess I've heard about this. This is technically okay. Yeah, I heard something about this. Sighting, but no bombshells. Enthusiasts have pointed over thousands of newly released documents related to the investigation into President John F. Kennedy assassination. As many as were suspected, the latest released by the Trump administration does not answer all legal questions about when it views historic turning points, the 1963 killing of Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. But the latest batch does include documents that are now mostly or fully unredacted. They reveal further how much the U.S. Central Intelligence Agency had observed JFK's killer before the shooting. The U.S. government investigation in the 1960s concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald, a drifter and former U.S. Marine who at one point defected to the Soviet Union, acted alone when he shot Kennedy's motorcade from a nearby building. The U.S. government investigation in the 1960s concluded that Lee Harvey Oswald. Oh, I read that. However, the case still prompts questions along with wild conspiracy theories more than 60 years later, and the latest release is unlikely to change that. Here are some key takeaways. More on Oswald, but no bombshells. The documents further shed light on the CIA's strong surveillance of Oswald, said Jefferson Morley, a former Washington Post reporter and editor of the JFK Facts blog. He's the subject of deep interest to the CIA long before the assassination, and the extent of this has only been clear in the last few years, Morley said. Many of the documents have been released before, but now more complete versions are available, although specialists are still combing through. No earth-shattering stories have surfaced. Still, Mr. Morley calls it the most exciting news around JFK records since the 1990s. Several very important documents have come into public view, he said. Experts have therefore praised the release as a step forward for transparency. In the past, hundreds of thousands of documents were made available, but were partially redacted. Others will help back with officials citing national security concerns. Philip Shannon, who wrote a 2013 book about the assassination, told the Associated Press that previously released documents described a trip Oswald took to Mexico City in September 1963, months before the assassination. The CIA was monitoring him at that time, he said, according to the AP. There's reasons to believe he talked openly about killing Kennedy in Mexico City, and the people overheard him say that. In a previously released April 1975 memo, the CIA downplayed what it knew about Oswald's trip to Mexico City. The CIA recorded 3 phone calls between Oswald and a guard at the Soviet Union, it said, but Oswald only identified himself in one. Okay. I'm wondering if the phone calls themselves are available. I wonder if we have a copy of those themselves. Intelligent methods revealed. A member of the document shed light on Kennedy's relationship with the CIA before his death and on intelligence gathering techniques and giving a window into the Cold War operations. It looks like we may have a copy finally of it. So a number of the documents shed light on Kennedy's relationship with the CIA. A newly unredacted memo reveals a more complex version of it written by Kennedy aide Arthur Schlesinger. Critical of the CIA and its role in shaping foreign policy, the note shows the agency's huge presence in U.S. embassies, even in allied countries such as France. In it, Schlesinger warns Kennedy about the agency's influence on American foreign policy, though not directly related to the assassination. The memo details the rocky relationship between the president and intelligence agencies. The CIA is traditionally opposed to releasing operational or budget information. Said David Barrett of Illinois University professor and expert on the CIA and presidential power. It's a very good thing for the government to release the documents, even if there are still maybe some redactions, he said. One document is the use of fluoroscopic scanning, using X-rays to show images of the inside of an object. The technique was developed to detect hidden microphones possibly used to bug CIA offices. Another document, the CIA describes a system to secretly tag and identify public phone boxes that are tapped using paint only visible under ultraviolet light. That's interesting. So I wonder, like, a lot of those have been, they've been removed over the years. Huh. The memo is also notable for one of the names in it, James McCord, who would later gain infamy as one of the men who burgled the Watergate complex. The break-in kicked off the unraveling of the scandal that toppled President Richard Nixon. Okay. Old theories resurrected. Some well-known online accounts claim that recent documents reveal new details about long alleged plots against Kennedy, even though some of the supposed revelations have been public for years. They include several vial photos about Gary Underhill, World War II military intelligence agent. Mr. Underhill reportedly claimed that the cabal of CIA agents was behind the assassination, a theory openly published in Ramparts Left-Wing magazine in 1967. Mr. Underhill's death in 1964 was ruled a suicide, but the magazine cast doubt on that as well. Photos of a 7-page memo regarding Mr. Underhill went viral on Tuesday, but the bulk of it is not new. His story has been discussed online, and the CIA memo mentioning it was first revealed in 2017. Just a few sentences on one page of the memo were nearly unredacted in the latest release, and crucially, the theory is based on a second-hand account published after Mr. Underhill's death and includes no hard evidence. However, the story was just one of a number of unsubstantiated theories circulating following the release of the files. Are the files completely unredacted? A 1992 law required all the documents related to the assassination to be released within 25 years, but the law also included national security exceptions. The push for greater transparency has led to more release over time. Both President Trump in his first term and President Biden, as recently as 2023, released batches of documents. Ahead of the new release, President Trump said that he asked his staff not to redact anything from them. That doesn't appear to entirely be the case. Now going to still have some redactions. However, experts were largely in agreement that the latest release was a step forward for transparency. JFK files journalist Morley said there are further documents in the National Archives yet to be released, and others held by the CIA and FBI that have not yet been accounted for. Even though there could be more releases to come, as well as promised drops about the killings of Robert F. Kennedy Sr. and Martin Luther King Jr., the question around the JFK assassination will almost certainly be certainly continue. Whenever there is an assassination, there will be debates, and to some degree there will be conspiracy theories, said Barrett, the Villanova historian. That's not going to change because of these or any other documents. And he was right about that. I'm gonna work on getting as much of these uploaded to LM, to this AI thing, Google notebook thing. I was testing it out. I think it's called LM Notebook. Google Notebook LM. I was looking at it, and I was trying some stuff with it. So this is kind of what I have so far. Apparently, I've updated a bunch of things. But like apparently, if I want it to be longer than like 13 minutes, I think I gotta pay for it. So right now I've downloaded something that's a little over 13 minutes, and it's supposed, and asked them just give an overview of everything that I've updated so far. And when you look at this mind map thing, come on. So apparently there's a lot about visa applications. Someone named Tamara. Yeah. I'm not sure I understand what all that means. So let's see its explanation of this. The sources include the organization by division. CA, AF, BB, DO, CI, ER was used in the context of routing slip distributions, particularly for the Central Intelligence Agency. These divisions appear to represent both geophysical areas and functional units within the agency. That's interesting. Okay. So you can look at that and it pulls up the actual in summary, the organization was a key aspect of the CIA's routing slip Its codes represent both geographic areas where the agency had operational and functional units within its headquarters. The system ensured that relative information and documents were efficiently routed to the appropriate divisions or personnel based on their areas of responsibility and functional role. Oh. Okay. I guess that's interesting. Alright, so let's try and get this thing pulled up here. Since supposedly it's available now. Yep. Improving education outcomes by empowering parents, states, and communities. By authority invested in me as president by the constitutional laws of the United States of America and to enable parents, teachers, and communities to best ensure student success, it is hereby ordered. Section 1. Purpose and policy. Our nation's bright future relies on empowered families, engaged communities, and excellent education opportunities for every child. Unfortunately, the experiment controlling marriage education through federal programs and dollars, and the unaccountable bureaucracy those programs and dollars support, has plainly failed our children, our teachers, and our families. Taxpayers spent around $200 billion at the federal level on schools during the COVID-19 pandemic, on top of more than $60 billion they spend annually on federal school funding. The money is largely distributed by one of the newest cabinet agencies, the Department of Education, which existed for less than 1/5 of our nation's history. The Congress created the Department of Education in 1979 at the urging of President Jimmy Carter, who received the first ever presidential endorsement from the country's largest teachers union shortly after pledging to the union his support for a separate Department of Education. Since then, the Department of Education has entrenched the education bureaucracy and sought to convince America that federal control over education is beneficial. While the Department of Education does not educate anyone, it maintains a public relations office that includes over 80 staffers at a cost of more than $10 million per year. Closing the Department of Education will provide children and their families the opportunity to escape a system that is failing them. Today, American reading and math scores are near historical lows. This year's National Assessment of Education Progress showed that 70% of educators were below proficient in reading and 72% were below proficiency in math. Federal education bureaucracy is not working. Closure of the Department of Education would drastically improve program implementation in higher education. The Department of Education currently manages a student loan debt portfolio of more than 1.6 trillion. Wow, 1.6 trillion. I think I said children. It's 1.6 trillion. That means the federal student aid program is roughly the size of one of the nation's largest banks, Wells Fargo. But although Wells Fargo has more than 200 million employees, the Department of Education has fewer than 1,500 and its Office of Federal Student Aid. The Department of Education is not a bank, and must return bank functions to an entity equipped to serve American students. Ultimately, the Department of Education's main function can and should be returned to the states. Closing the Department of Education and returning authority to the states. The Secretary of Education shall, to the maximum extent appropriate and permitted by law, take all necessary steps to facilitate the closure of the Department of Education and return authority over education to states and local communities while ensuring that effective and uninterrupted delivery of service, programs, and benefits on which Americans rely. Consistent with the Department of Education's authority, the Secretary of Education shall ensure that the allocation of any federal Department of Education funds is subject to rigorous compliance with the federal laws and administrative policies, including the requirement that any program or entity receiving federal assistance terminate illegal discrimination obscured under the label diversity, equity, inclusion, or similar terms of programs promoting gender ideology. Section 3. General provisions. Nothing in this order shall be construed to impair or otherwise affect authority granted by law to execute department, agency, or the head thereof. The authority granted by law to execute to an executive department or agency, or the head thereof, or the functions of the director of the Office of Management and Budget relating to the budgetary, administrative, or legislative proposals. This order shall be implemented consistent with applicable law and subject to the availability of appropriations. This order is not intended to and does not create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable at law or in equity by any party against the United States, its daughter departments, agencies, or entities, its officers, employees, or agents, or any other person. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. What? So this okay? Let's check this out. Breaking: Andrew and Tristan Tate have filed a lawsuit against multiple ex-users, including me. Murdered by crayons. They are seeking $50,000 for defamation per se, commercial defamation, and civil conspiracy. Game on, Cobra Tate the Talisman. I've been waiting for this. Plaintiffs Tristan Tate and Andrew Tate. Defendants John Doe, aka Murder by Crayons, Jane Doe, the real Susie Wynn. I mean, they made them anonymous. Mary Doe, aka Avalon. Okay. Nathan Livingston, aka the Milk Bar TV. Jane Doe, Mad About Sheep. I'm wondering if I've ever heard of any Misfit Patriot. I think I've heard of that name. At least I thought I have. But you can't even... Okay, that's the Misfit Patriot right there. I wanna link to this itself. I'm gonna post it to the score that's acting like was an idiot. Because I want potentially criminal to see it. So that should be interesting. He'll have access to actually pull that up. I will not. But he will be able to actually pull that up. And go over it. Alright, so I wanted to see what updates there were on DOA. I'm gonna look at that here briefly. I may set up an art stream of sorts later, but I gotta do some laundry. Gotta go to YouTube. What on earth? I've always heard that shaving your face is a bad idea. I know that nobody wants to watch me shave my face. I know that. Okay, this is dumb. Okay, let's go to Nora Scientology's thing. Let's see what she's posted. What's up with Nora? Really, that's her page. She have anything new? Let's see if anybody ever responded to the comment that I made. Well, I understand your vision about the gentleman's agreement that they had. She is very likely within her rights. She doesn't want to be associated with God due to him destroying public property and other things. True, the consent, people are free to have feelings about it. If it isn't what a judge will look at when deciding if her copyright was violated. Almost nothing you say, I believe, would make a difference in civil court. The law doesn't always care about your feelings. It's a shame that this woman was pulled into this conflict and has no power to do much about the end result. She liked it. So she agrees with me. So she really liked it, so she agrees with me. It's interesting. It got 2 likes. Interesting. So let's see if we can go to the DOA himself. Lord of DOA. Let's see what the new updates he has. That was from 2 days ago. Well, and we're not going through. Discovery will not be your friend, DOA. I'm sorry, but I don't think it will. Yeah. Alright. Well, we finally, after trying for like 20 minutes, we finally got to read the order itself. But the thing that I get is that I guess that the Congress is the only ones that can actually do anything. So that's interesting. Alrighty. Well, good night, y'all. Take good care of yourselves. You have a great night.
Hey, what are we waiting for? We've come too far to let